I would like to introduce our speaker, Erin Dufner. Erin is Chief Marketing Officer for Better Business Bureau, serving the heart of Texas. She is responsible for overseeing all internal and external communications, including marketing, investigations, and media relations. Erin's team serves 7 media markets throughout Texas. Erin has trained BBB professionals across the country in several areas of BBB work and serves on many national BBB committees. In 2009, 2011, 2013, 2015, 2017, and 2019, Erin led BBB teams that earned the Marshall A. Mott Award for Outstanding Communications, the highest honor a local BBB can achieve. Erin has also led her staff in several honors and awards and achievements in targeted media campaigns and new programs. I'm very excited to hear from Erin today and appreciate her willingness to work with Georgetown businesses. I'm going to turn it over to Erin right now and take it away, Erin. Thank you.
Good morning, Kim, and thank you all for inviting BBB to be a part of really our recovery and offering some marketing strategies for smaller businesses that we can start using now. So again, thank you all so much for attending, and we'll get right into it. When it comes to questions, just go ahead and put those in the chat box, and Kim and I will be tag teaming those a little bit just to make sure that everybody gets their questions answered. So today we'll be talking about marketing strategies specifically for smaller businesses. And what we'll be doing is we'll be providing a little bit about BBB. A lot of you probably recognize the name, but BBB is doing a lot of things, especially for smaller businesses right now. And we absolutely hope that you will check it out at the end of this presentation. We'll talk about how you identify and reach your specific target audience. And sometimes you may not know who that target audience is, or sometimes you may think that your target audience is just somebody who walks through the door or visits you online. But that's not always necessarily the case. We'll talk about some in-person marketing, content marketing, digital marketing, and then what we all can do now as we begin this reopening process. And in-person marketing, I think right now we can all agree, is about what we're doing right now, which is Zoom. And generally it's going to be digital, but hopefully you'll see a couple of things in this presentation that you can do now. And certainly when everybody reopens, it'll give you some ideas to kickstart. Okay, so just a little bit about BBB. We are an international organization and we cover Canada as well as Mexico. We opened a Mexico City location somewhere around 2014, and that was really, really exciting. So we do cover all of the United States, Puerto Rico, and we have over 100 locations. I think we're at about 143 locations now, but most of the services we offer are online at bbb.org. And we're doing things a little bit differently and have probably for the last 10 years or so. We are a membership organization at the end of the day. Smaller businesses, those are our customers. We offer reports, we offer ratings, all of those things, but at the end of the day, our customer are small businesses. And you can see in the lower right-hand corner of this particular slide, that is the accredited business symbol. And what that means is that companies meet and maintain our standards of accreditation or standards for trust. There are 8 of them. And across North America, there are over 400,000 BBB accredited businesses. Most of you on this presentation, this call, the Zoom call, are likely BBB accredited, so we appreciate that as well. Some of the benefits that BBB offers that you may not necessarily be 100% familiar with is we have an online app, so you can ask our consumers for reviews right on the spot. It's real time, and that's included in BBB business profiles. We have about 3.2 million profiles on businesses across North America, on accredited businesses and certainly non-accredited businesses. BBB offers personalized resources and tools for small businesses, just such as this, speaking engagements and presentations to provide information to small businesses based on BBB's 108 years experience of helping build better businesses, what it means to be a better business, and standards that they can live by to make them the best business that they can be. And certainly right now, we're all in trying times, and we've partnered with a lot of organizations to make sure that all small businesses are supported. The BBB services that we offer, complaint processing and dispute resolution assistance, really helping businesses and consumers come together, mediation, arbitration, all of the services that we offer are free for everybody. And to learn more about what BBB is doing for small businesses right now, you can visit our website at bbb.org/build better. So let's talk about what you can be doing now and identifying your existing customers. Think about who they are, right? It is the most important thing that you can do is identify the customers that you want, who are the existing customers, how to reach them, and then also figure out what sets apart your business. So if you are offering a service that or product that a lot of other companies offer, such as maybe coffee or shoes, you need to think about what sets your specific business apart. Everyone cannot be a target for a company. There's only one brand I'm aware of whose customers everyone, and that is Nike, because they bring out the athlete in everyone. So whether you are 8 months old or whether you are 98 years old, Nike helps you bring out the best, the athlete in everyone. So that's about the only brand I can think of where everyone is their target audience, and certainly they do that very, very well. So 3 steps that you can take right now to identify your target audience. I'm going to go through those quickly. Figure out who's using your current products and services, and whether it's online, certainly you can get a lot of information about people who visit your website or visit you through social media or like or follow you. You can find out information, but make sure that those are the people that you want, because if you can identify your existing customers and you want more of them, you can identify how to reach them. If you want a different kind of audience, if you want to start slicing and dicing and get a different group. So let's say, for example, that your current customers are between 34 and 50 women. If you want a different group, then as you're marketing and advertising, you just need to know that, because they all respond differently in different places, in different ways, and also with different messages. And consider the information that you can get. So if you have a website, you need to be looking at your Google Analytics, absolutely. And this is going to tell you information about different age groups, what their interests are. It can tell you about their gender, where they're located. There's a lot of information that you can gather. Everybody has Google Analytics. If you have a website, you can put tags on your website to learn more about who's visiting your website. So that's absolutely a great place to get some more information about your audience. And you can also find out more about your audience and how to reach them is finding out the way that they spend their money, right? What problems do they want solved? And that's where you can dig in when you identify who those folks are. You can do research. It's very simple. There's so much information out there. You don't have to hire an expert or an expert, web company or SEO company. Those are all things that are good, but don't feel like you have to spend tens of thousands of dollars on companies, especially if you're not 100% online and selling your products. A lot of companies use websites for marketing, which they should, because you want people to be able to find you when they're searching online. But when it comes to setting your business apart, this is where you need to really understand your competitors. Think about things like, what do you do better? What do you do differently? Do you offer a speedy service? Do you offer a coffee or a food that is homemade? Or it's something special? So think about what you are doing that's different than some of your competitors that sets you apart. Are you going for pricing? Do you have a better price than maybe some of your competitors? Or do you offer, a faster service, or maybe you're offering to go versus curbside or something along those lines? So just consider when you are marketing, what sets you apart, how you reach that market, and how you identify your existing customers. So the first thing to talk about is, if you'd like to think about it, or you can certainly enter this information in the chat box, is how confident are you that you know your audience, that you understand who your target customers are? So just a minute of reflection just to think about that is, do you know, or has it been a kind of fly by the seat of your pants? I just need business. I need people walking in my coffee shop. So think about that just for a minute. And if you'd like to share anything in chat, we're open to that as well. And Kim will help me out with that. And if you have a question about your target audience, we will be accepting and going through some questions at the end of the presentation as well. All right. So now that we've reflected on whether we really are confident about knowing our current customer, let's talk about something a little bit different. Let's talk about specifically your in-person marketing. In-person marketing right now is taking a different spin on things. I think we can all agree on that. But consider, as a smaller business, you are always marketing. Getting to know people, making sure you understand your business, certainly most of you do, but also your employees, you are always marketing. Everybody in your company is a salesperson, whether they are making the product, whether they are ringing up the product, whether they're marketing the product. Every person in your organization is a marketer. And so just making sure that everybody understands that a salesperson doesn't necessarily mean somebody that just takes the money. They're always representing your brand. They're representing your company, your good name. And it's really important that they're passionate about not only what they do, but how it fits into the bigger picture of your business and the success of your business. So let's talk a little bit more about in-person marketing and what that looks like. All right, so talking about networking. Networking, as we know, we keep talking about, is taking on a different flavor right now, but it is really important, even if it's just social networking, right? So it's a great way for people to get together, whether they are, whether you're going to a function that's a happy hour function, maybe a luncheon, even going to see a speaker. That's all networking. That's all a way for you to get your name and product out there. You can create new partnerships. You can identify new opportunities. You can start building your reputation in the community, and all of these things are really important when we're talking about our businesses, when we're talking about smaller businesses, because you can learn more not only about what's going on in your community and what's going on with your competitors, but you'll get a feel for what people are really looking for. Are you meeting their needs? And generally, a great way to do that is to ask a lot of questions. So excuse me, as you are going through with these networking events, or any kind of virtual events, be thinking about what you want to know about your business from other people. Ask questions. Establishing that positive reputation in your community. Right now, consider that this is probably the only time in our lifespan that we all have something to talk about. And we know what that something to talk about is, right? We know that's COVID-19. So just consider, if you maybe are more of an introvert, or you may be uncomfortable about starting a conversation, just remember that right now, everybody has at least one thing in common, which is how we're all working through COVID-19. So it's a great time to make those connections and have those conversation starters, because we are getting used to our new normal, right? And you can have more positive conversations about how you all have weathered the storm. And as Texas continues reopening, we'll have some more of those positive positive stories. And consider also when you're looking at networking, if you have any kind of industry association you can be a part of, whether it's local or statewide or national, make sure that you're tapped into that, because a lot of times those types of organizations will provide you with what's coming up in the industry or anything that can help build your business. So I know time is very valuable for everybody. And if you have a little bit of extra time, we're not commuting right now, so we might have a little bit of extra time. Now's the time to start doing your research on how you can really build that. Looking at discussion boards, people that are talking about your industry or things that are going on in your industry is a great way to network. Okay, so events. Consider hosting events that increase awareness about your company. Whether it's hosting an event at your shop, whether it's hosting an event at a hotel, consider participating. Expos are a great way to interact with your customers, find out more about your customers, what their needs are, talking to them one-on-one. So even if it's something that might be in Austin, but again, if your customers are in Austin, that's a great place. If they're only in Georgetown, then you really want to participate in some of those smaller Georgetown communities. And it's also a great way to expand your business. So let's say that you're looking for more customers, maybe from the Salado area or maybe from the Waco area, and there's something special about your company about why they should visit your business in Georgetown, for example. So think about those types of things. They could run a little bit, maybe $100 or $200, but if you do decide that you're going to take advantage of a business expo, or you're going to participate in one, make sure that you have some leave behinds, right? You want people to remember your business because a lot of your competitors may be there. So that's definitely something to consider. Also, hosting educational webinars and just information about your industry is always interesting to people. So if you are, let's say, a coffee shop, it might be interesting to people to learn more about how coffee is harvested and how it's roasted. And this is a good opportunity for you to tell your customers or your potential customers why your company is different. Why is your coffee different? Do you have more coffee? Is it roasted in a different way? Is it flavored in a way that is appealing to people? So those are things to consider. Also, think about your local communities. A lot of HOAs, homeowners associations, and POAs, property owners associations, they're always looking for speakers, somebody to come in and talk to them about something interesting. Certainly using those opportunities to promote your business is a good idea, but if you're an expert in something, let's say, for example, you're a roofer, and certainly we are in springtime, which is where a lot of weather comes in, you might offer to go and speak with an HOA about roofing and about when you need to have a roofer come out, or dealing with insurance companies or filing claims. Those are some examples. So just providing that free education and that free information can help set your company apart, and it's a great way to market your business as well. All right, this is one of my favorite conversations, drive-by marketing. It's a very sophisticated marketing term, as you can see. But this is something that allows you to test out messaging and to get your messaging out there very specifically. So this is, I think, one of the opportunities that contractors specifically can miss if they're not paying attention, because consider that whenever you are doing work on somebody's home, for example, all of their neighbors are going, if you have a sign in somebody's yard, all of their neighbors are going to see it at least 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times a day. They've got a lot of children, maybe running back and forth to soccer practice. They're going to see your brand, right? So if you are a contractor, you're offering lawn service. I mean, if one of your customers is the Yard of the Month Club person, you need to make sure and have that sign in their yard so that when they need lawn work done, or they need roofing, or they need a swimming pool, or their driveway paved, or house painting. Consider all of those opportunities, because a lot of you smaller businesses, I'm sure in Georgetown, do a lot of referral marketing or word of mouth marketing. This is just exactly the same, except for it's visual. So make sure that you're taking that into account, putting your picture. Realtors are very, very good about marketing themselves, marketing their pictures, really making that human connection. Consider that even if you're not a realtor, you're a coffee shop owner, or you're a contractor and you have a picture of your family. All of those are great ways to market your company. And you can see that you can get these signs for about $8. They're really not expensive. A lot of the times they're weatherproof so that you can use them over and over. And it's a really great investment, a great investment to get your name out there. All right. So digital marketing. We're going to spend a little bit of time on digital marketing. You got your in-person marketing, your networking, events, and then your drive-by marketing. But this is sometimes where I think smaller businesses, especially, at least in BBB's experience, get a little bit stuck with digital technology, the new emerging places to make sure that your business is found. And identifying, especially for a smaller business, maybe 10 or fewer employees, where you should be. Should you be on Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, TikTok? I mean, which social media place specifically, digital ads, where should you be? But that's really part of identifying your audiences so that you can make sure and choose those investments, and also making sure that they have a measurable impact. Any time you spend, any human capital, any advertising dollars, anything you spend, you want to make sure that you're able to measure that and have a solid ROI for that investment in your business. So let's talk about that. All right. So a lot of you probably have a website. I would guess most of you have websites. Most small businesses do. Make sure that it is dynamic and that it's optimized. And what that means is that you want to make sure that it is a great mobile experience. I know for BBB, more than half of all the visitors to our website do so on a mobile device. And so making sure that people can easily see your information is key. We want it to be a good experience, because if it's not a good experience, people will leave and they'll find somewhere else. It's so easy for them to maybe do a Google search on you. They find you, they hit, click the button to go to your website. If it's not a good experience, they'll just go back and they'll keep scrolling down. So it's really, really important, especially for businesses. I think sometimes they forget about the different ways, like, for example, a contact form. If you have a contact form on your website, make sure that it is optimized for a mobile device, because people will struggle if it isn't. They will struggle. I mean, I know probably all of you, I know this happens to me as I go and look at a website and I want to send an email, or I want them to contact me proactively. If I have to do a lot of adjusting of my screen and I'm trying to get it all over and I'm trying to type, it just doesn't work out well. If it's not a good experience, people will go somewhere else. And that's really, really important right now. So when you think about your digital marketing experience, you need to make sure that you look at this holistically, right? And so you need to be checking places like Better Business Bureau. You need to see what that online reputation looks like. Make sure that it's updated. Anytime you have reviews from any site, Google, any type of reviews, make sure that you answer those. Make sure that you're aware and up to speed on those. People really like to see immediate responses from business, regardless of if the review is positive or negative. A lot of people forget to respond to positive reviews as well. And you should be asking people for feedback, okay? So it's really important, and making sure that Google yourself constantly. You want to make sure that it's easy for people to find you. When it comes to search engine optimization, This is where you want to have that conversation with whoever is hosting your website to make sure that everything in the background is appropriate for your specific business. So search optimization basically means that when somebody goes to a website and they type in, let's say they type in Georgetown Coffee Shop, that your website is built and gaining popularity so that it comes up organically or without you having to pay a fee for it to come up at the top. So that's what SEO is, and that's something that is always emerging. Google is constantly changing its algorithm, so you need to make sure that whoever's hosting your website is keeping up with those changes. They should be charging you just specifically for the updates and some monitoring, so just be sure you're not overspending there. And making sure that you have a social media presence. I mean, all age groups are going to social media. Certainly there are different kinds of mediums like TikTok that are generally for the younger kids. I know I have a 16-year-old daughter and she TikToks constantly. And that may not be a medium for everybody, but making sure that you're checking those and making sure that you understand where you should be based on your audience, how you should be presenting your information and marketing your company is really important, especially for social media. And right now, during our trying times, people are using social media so much to reach out and keep in touch with family members, whether it's instant messaging or doing video calls through Facebook. Just make sure that you're keeping all of that updated. Even if you're home with your kids, just take a few minutes at night, do it every single day to keep people talking about you, which is good, to make sure that you are relevant and that you know where people are finding you and what they're saying about you. All right. So let's talk about this just for a little bit, getting started on social media. We talked a little bit about this before, but social media it can be confusing. There's a lot of information. There are a lot of places to go, and a lot of them work in very, very different ways. Some of them work similarly to each other. Some of them connect. So for example, Instagram and Facebook, they connect really, really well because they have some very similar platforms, certainly similar ownership, but they're very, very different, right? Instagram is more for pictures and Facebook is more for messaging and for adding videos and photos. So as you're setting up these social media accounts, especially with Facebook, make sure that you have a lot of pictures. Make sure that you have some videos, your storefronts, pictures of customers, your logo and your brand. These things are just so important that some small business owners can forget. Social media is not a set it and forget it type of a product. It's really important that people, continue to do all of this, constant monitoring. It used to not be that way, right? I mean, 20 years ago, we put an ad in the yellow pages and we set it and forget it. But some industries are going to be, looked at more on different types of social media channels. And I'm seeing a lot of great chats and some great guidelines and tips from smaller businesses. So if you haven't already, look at that chat box because there's some great information and great conversation that's going on there. And then make sure that you are telling stories in social media. Video is king. I'm sure you all know that. But making sure that you're telling stories about different experiences. People love to hear stories. That's what's going to engage them. So just that's something to consider to when you're choosing your social media, is that's how you get started. Just do it. Some people, I think, that aren't overly excited or comfortable with social media, they tend to overthink things. Just get started. Start that Facebook page, open up that Instagram account. If you're comfortable on Twitter, if it makes sense for your business, just jump in, right? Just do it. Speaking of Nike. All right. All right. so let's talk about, think about what your favorite social media platforms are to use. Everybody's comfortable in different platforms. I've got, like I was saying, my 16-year-old daughter, she loves TikTok. But you know, so many of these social media platforms, what do you think is easiest to use? Where do you get your news and your information? You know, think about it just from your perspective. And then when you think about how you are using it, then also think about where your audience is using it, because sometimes those are two very different solutions and very different conversations and a very different thought process. Just because we like Facebook doesn't mean that our audience is going to use Facebook as much as they can. One of the things I really like about Facebook advertising is, and I think we have later in the presentation an example, but you can get very specific on how you market to target audiences in Facebook. So Facebook and Instagram are certainly the most popular, but there are a lot of different social media platforms, some of which I haven't even mentioned yet. And I'm seeing in the chat box that people are using Pinterest. Pinterest does, thank you, Jen, get she says, a crazy amount of traffic lately. That's true, because what are people doing? They're doing crafts at home. They're learning how to make things. I've seen, you know, pictures and rock painting and landscaping and building a flower box or a vegetable garden box. There's so many different ways. So just consider how that might tie into your particular business and your industry. All right. So let's talk about what to post. Being an expert on social media is a great place to start. You've all probably heard of influencers, right? These are online influencers. They call them YouTubers. That's another great platform to be able to market and advertise your company, and call them influencers. So anytime you can provide expert content and encourage people to share, that's where you're going to be the expert. You know, if you're a hair salon, we're all dying for you to open, number one, but number two, can you do a video on your Facebook page or on Instagram or even TikTok about how to do a really, really cool braid? These are things that, especially right now in our trying times, people are spending time on. We want to learn more. So consider how you can share your stories and share your expertise on these specific social media platforms. If you are a restaurant, maybe you decide that you want to show people how to make one of the favorite menu items, right? So think about ways where you can engage your audience. Social media is a great place to do that because people are watching and they want to learn more information. I know that, you know, a lot of people I know on Facebook, they share recipes. If you have a really cool video making something really special from your restaurant, share it. People will share it. That's the great thing about social media, is that the more you can get people to share and engage with your content, you can measure it. And a lot of times it can go viral, which means that a lot of people are sharing it and liking it. You have some of those opportunities, right? And consider asking the people on your social media pages about their products. Ask questions of them and get them engaged. Have them post and engage with your post. So if you're a pet store, for example, maybe people have a favorite pet contest, for example, right? And people who post their pets, and you have a vote and there's a $50 gift card. There's just so many ways that you can engage people on social media. And also consider Facebook Lives. Facebook Lives can be very, very engaging. They give people an opportunity to know and to humanize your brands. And as you're doing these Facebook Lives, make sure that you are continually branding, brand, making sure that whoever is doing the Facebook Live has, even if it's something simple like your brand on their t-shirt or a collared shirt. Right now things are pretty casual, but making sure that whenever you're doing these videos and engaging with your audience, that you are branding yourself. Branding. It's just so important. All right. Social media promotions, I mentioned this a little bit ago, but when you start spending money in social media platforms and advertising, they are very affordable, but you need to make sure that it's targeted. So here's a Facebook example of the questions that you would ask and the benchmarks that you would need to create. So remember, at the beginning of the presentation, we talked about your target audience. Identifying that is very, very key, especially with Facebook advertising. So consider, what do you want people to do what is the objective? Do you want them to visit your website? Do you want them to share? Do you want them to comment? So consider what your objectives are and make sure that anything that you post is going to be leading people to engage or follow through with your specific objective. Do you want more visits? Do you want more likes, more followers? So consider those things. Your audience, what I really like about Facebook, and you can see that here on the slide, is that you can get very specific. You can get people where they live, what their interests are. Remember, again, that target audience. That's why we started with target audience. It's so important. And then you can even, at the bottom, you can see who you want to engage with your content, who you want to advertise to. Is it people who like your page? Is it people who like your page and their friends? Is it specifically, you can see here for our website, we wanted to find lookalikes of people who are already followers on our Facebook page. Or you can set up different audiences. It's a really inexpensive way. You don't have to be an expert, and this can be a little bit of a set it and forget it, maybe a week or two at a time as you're measuring what those results are. But you can, for example, say, okay, I want to spend $10 a day, and these are my goals. You can see if that $10 a day maybe is exceeding your goals. So you can either up it, maybe $15 a day, but once that money is spent, it's spent. So that's one of the things I really like about Facebook is, thank you, Jen. One of the things I really like about Facebook is it can be so personalized, and you can turn it on and on with the click of a button. On and off with a click of a button. And you can also have other people watch this for you. You can make the changes very, very quickly. And for those of you who maybe have teenagers at home, this is something that you can have them take over for you, because they are generally very familiar with social media. Facebook, maybe not so much, but some of the other social media platforms, they're quick learners. And it would certainly be a good experience for them to understand marketing and advertising from a business perspective. And if you're not already, I would really encourage you all to try it, even if it's $10 a day or $5 a day with Facebook specifically. Just try it. I think that you'll be really surprised about what you get, and then you'll get reports too. So it's something great to try. I know BBB, we have a social media budget, and we will boost specific posts. So let's say, for example, there's a scam going on that we believe everybody needs to know about. We will boost that very specific post to a very specific audience. I think we spend maybe $10 on it. So it's a great way for us to get our brand out there, and certainly the information to the public that they need. All right. Let's see. Should be good there. All right. So next we're going to talk about content marketing. Let me see. I think we are. Yes, we are. Okay. So we need to start talking about content marketing. Content marketing is a great way to, present your information in a way that includes, obviously, content, right? So they can have measurable impact on sales. They can have, measurable impact in revenue. And this is really how a lot of businesses start out, is with content marketing. So let's dive into this a little bit. And I've got a question on from Janet. Do you see better ROI with Facebook ads versus boosting posts? It depends upon the objective, Janet, and it's a really great question. So sometimes we'll boost a post if the post is very, very specific, or if we have a at least for BBB, if we have a more broad topic that's mostly like an advertising or branding, then we will do a Facebook ad versus boosting a specific post. So it just depends upon that specific objective. So when you are spending money in social media, consider what that objective is that you want to accomplish. And it doesn't have to be one, it can be multiple objectives. Maybe you want to do a boost post one day and some Facebook ads the next day, or you can have those going simultaneously. So that's something to consider. It's a really, really great question. All right. So let's go on with content marketing. All right. Email campaigns. This is great for when you have a group of people who you have permission to send email to, right? You can create highly engaging templates. You don't have to have a lot of coding experience. There are email companies that are a very, very low cost that will help you with designs to get people engaged. You can track your audience. You can track what they're interested in. You can track you can see a theme, right? You want to be able to track all of your marketing efforts and all of your the money that you're spending to market your company, right? But you have to make sure that everybody is opting in. That is an international law. You have to make sure that people have given you permission to email them. So that's something to consider. And whether you're a coffee shop or a roofer, there's always information that we can be providing the public that can be very, very helpful. So if you're starting out, you can always gather consumer email addresses from people at the point of purchase. If you do sell your products online, make sure that how you're going to use their information is included in your privacy policy, and that you give them an option also to opt out as you are sending them emails. And right now, if you're considering reopening, now is a great time to do email only offers. If they show you the email, or if there's an email offer code that they can take advantage of, whether you're an online or in-person type of business for your point of sale, now is a great time to get people engaged. People are checking email. I know for BBB, our open rates on emails are definitely increasing because people are home more, they're checking their email, they're more digitally engaged, I guess is probably a better way to put it. So now's a great time to be doing that. And also, if you decide to do email campaigns, consider doing your email campaigns on a specific schedule so that it's every Tuesday morning. There's a lot of resources and a lot of studies about when the best times to send email are. For those of you who may have signed up for we all have so much experience in this, right? You know, if you get your specials of the day from Michael's or other brands, Steinmart, Target, Home Depot, you can start looking at how and when some of those larger brands are sending out emails and how you feel about them. When do you like opening your email at 6 o'clock in the morning before you get your coffee and you're starting work? Do you like scrolling through and deleting all the things that you don't need? Or do you like getting things every day as a reminder that you need those extra, tools at Home Depot and you need to start building your garden? So it just depends upon your audience and what you want them to have as a takeaway. And just remember, when it comes to email, there is such thing as too much, right? So a lot of brands like to do different options where you can opt in for more frequent emails, fewer emails, generally starting out once every couple of weeks. If you haven't done email campaigns in the past, that is a great place to start, but that's just something to consider as well. So we've got just a couple of more slides to go. User-generated content, these are customer reviews. This is definitely something that you need to use. In fact, I have a statistic here. User-generated content for business, 92% of people are more likely to trust a recommendation from another person. Think about that. 92% of people are likely to trust a recommendation from another person. Think about that. That's where user-generated content is great, where you can get people talking about your brand. All right. Blogs and podcasts. This is where you can establish yourself as an industry expert, making sure that if there are situations or there are places where a blog is appropriate, get involved in the conversation, making sure that you are using your brands, share your feedback, post an article that you found. This is a great way to have your user-generated content, and podcasts as well. Podcasts are very, very popular. And even if you just have a very simple podcast or you reach out to somebody to be a guest on their podcast, that's a great way to share your content and marketing as well. Okay, so our final check-in. Does anyone use branded items for their business? Consider whether it's a coffee cup. Do you use branded items for your business? If you don't, I'm highly recommending that you do. It's always a great way to get your name out there, and we'll give you just a couple of examples. All right, people need to be able to recognize your brand. From uniforms to, you know, if you have a personal vehicle, get your brand out there, right? I'll give you an example. I know that when I purchased a home, I had a water softener. It was my very first water softener, and I didn't know if it was working or not. I didn't know who to call, but luckily, the company who initially installed the water softener had a sticker on there. The sticker costs, you know, 0.002 cents, right? Because you can get a big roll. And that's the first person that I called. They're the experts. They installed it. Now I know who to call. Consider that for garbage disposals, right? Any type of consumer electronic, people always appreciate. And for smaller maybe coffee shops, make sure that, I know it may cost a little bit of extra money, but having those branded cups is really important. Having those leave behinds, even if it's a sticker somewhere, you want people to remember you, and this is a great way. I mean, I know sometimes I need a pen. I grab a pen out of my purse, and it's a brand that I haven't interacted with for a while, but I remember it. I remember the experience, and I have that pen, and it's always useful to me. So that's something to consider. And certainly we talked about yard signs earlier as well. So leave behinds. You can see here that BBB has an interesting leave behind. It's a huge paper clip, which you might say, why would you choose a huge paper clip? Because it's different. And it stands out. I think it's probably somewhere around 3 inches long or something along those lines, but it's something different. People like it. You want to try to find something that's really useful. Branded candy, if you go to a trade show, is always fun. Everybody likes candy, and you can get that fairly inexpensive, but see if it's useful. If it's useful to have a bottle opener, for example, for your business, or if you're a wine shop, having a wine bottle opener that has your brand on it. So that's something to consider, how you want people to interact with that. All right, so let's talk about what we can do now. Right now are things when you get off this call that you need to do. The first thing, verify your online reputation. Google yourself. Google. Have people in your company Google you. Have your friends and family Google you. What is your online reputation when people see you? Make sure people can find you. If you're Googling your company name and people can't find you, you've got to boost your efforts to have a stronger online presence. Look at your social media channels. What are you saying? How long has it been since you've posted? That's the thing about some of these social media channels. Excuse me. People are not okay with a post once a month. They want to see a lot of posts and a lot of engagement. Respond to and promote your reviews. Make sure that you're set up to get those notifications when people do review your business, and post an offer. If you're open for business, you need to let everybody know. In fact, at bbb.org, or you can follow us on our social media. We have some free designs that you can use. Not everybody has a designer, but you can use those at your will to tell people that you're open. So you need to let people know now. Update your websites, look at your social media to make sure people know that you're there. If you want to learn more about what BBB is doing, consider following us on Facebook, Twitter, on Instagram, and we have a lot of great videos, webinars, and information, even if it's a 5 or 10 minute quick video on helping small businesses. I would invite you to check that out. You guys know that we talked about video is king. Anytime you can produce a video, it's the most engaging form of media that you can have. All right. That is all I have. I really appreciate everybody staying with us this time. I see that everybody is still on. So I'm going to go over the chat box and see if there's any questions. It looks like you guys are having a great conversation over here, looking at people talking about free Google Analytics courses online. That's absolutely true. There's some great resources. Obviously, Google wants you to understand how to get that so that you can be encouraged to buy advertising from them. We talked about Pinterest a little bit. Let's see. Great comment about making sure that you don't email too often. Starting out at maybe once every couple of weeks is great, and then you can see how people engage with your content. You know that you're doing it wrong if you get a lot of unsubscribes every time you send an email. So with email, there are some cues and clues to when you're doing information that people don't like. Let's see, I've got somebody talking about, from Georgetown. They're the Nike of mini golf. I like to hear that. Nike would appreciate their brand being shouted out again. Let's see. You're not open yet. You want to learn all we can now. You know what? Why don't you, Audrey, if you want to just shoot me an email, let's have a private conversation, because it sounds like that's something a little bit new and maybe different, that certainly you're a smaller business, but not necessarily retail, and might have a little bit of a different audience. So feel free to give me a call. I have my phone here with me. And after this, I'm absolutely open to answer questions. In fact, I love this suggestion to have an open house for mini golf. I will be there, make sure that I get the invitation, but that's a great, open houses are great. Have your signs ready. Give away free cookies. People love food. If you say we will have food, people will come. I promise. So absolutely, those are great. Great idea for Chamber of Commerce ribbon cutting events, and a lot of times the media will cover those as well. Even some smaller papers, they like that. And Chambers of Commerce also will present that to all of their members so that they know that that's coming. And we all know small businesses like to support other small businesses. So I love these conversations. Let's see, anything else? Do you guys have any other questions that I can answer for you? You're more than welcome to keep the chat going in your chat box, but I'm happy to answer any specific questions as well.
And just a reminder to everyone, this presentation was recorded, and so we will have it available on our website sometime next week. If you want to refer back to that, it's going to be available moving forward. That you have gotten a lot of information out of the presentation today. I can see lots of good chat going on as well, and so I appreciate you guys engaging. Looks like there's couple of questions maybe. There's one from Diane. How do you offer food with COVID-19 environment?
That the offering food with COVID-19 it's a really good question. You should contact the local health officials to find out how that's done. I suspect that they're going to want gloves and masks and all those types of things, but having hand sanitizer available for everybody is always good. Get your hands on as much hand sanitizer as you can. And I think it really depends upon the food. Obviously, a cheese plate and a vegetable platter is probably not appropriate right now, but individually wrapped items, cookies, those types of things. But I would absolutely, we've got pre-packaging on here, hiring a taco truck. Some of those experts in the food industry know how they need to be keeping people safe with COVID-19. I really appreciate all of you guys joining us, and I hope that this will encourage you to visit our website at bbb.org/build better to find out more about what BBB is doing to support smaller businesses.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Erin. Really enjoyed that presentation.
You're very welcome. Anytime. Please reach out to me if you guys have questions. I'm here for you.
Hey, that sounds great. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. If anyone has any further questions, just type them into that chat box. We'll hang out for another minute or two, and then we will wish you the best for the rest of this week.